In today's video, I'll be showing you my top 5 favorite decks that I have created since the new set has released. These are ones that I think you're going to be able to hit Master Ball with pretty quickly. But before we get into this, I do want to mention these are the top 3 decks you probably should be playing with if you just want to hit Master Ball as quick as possible. And sadly, these are all from last season. We have Mega Absol Hydreigon, Mega Altaria, and Suicune Greninja again. But anyways, let's get into my favorite decks that I've built. So the first deck that I want to talk about features Mimikyu, Chandelure, and one Melioda. So I believe you can easily hit Master Ball with this for a couple different reasons. First off, it's very consistent. We do have a draw engine. Melioda going to allow you to search for a random psychic at the start of your turn, and then even if you don't start with it, you can just retreat with Plaza. It allows all these Pokemon to retreat for no cost. And when you do swap out Pokemon, you want to go into Mimikyu, which has the ability Disguise, allowing you to not take damage from the first attack. This is excellent because early game you can chip down your opponents, get maybe a free attack off, and stall long enough to get into your Chandelure line. Chandelure, this one is awesome, and it has actually been doing well in tournaments recently. But for 2 energy, you can do 60 base damage, which, you know, is not very great, but 20 more for each supporter in your discard pile. So if you're able to stall with Mimikyu and then build up your discard pile, you can go into Chandelure late game and just absolutely sweep them. This deck is very, very, very strong and consistent too. There's a lot of maneuverability. It might take a little bit more thinking to pilot it, but I do believe it's going to be pretty good in this meta. The only thing I'm worried about is kind of Hydreigon. I feel like Hydreigon might be a problem, but Mimikyu is also able to block a Hydreigon attack, which I really like too. And then you can go into Chandelure and one-shot them, because whenever Hydreigon places energy on itself, it does take damage too. So Mimikyu is safe from Greninja. It'll get tagged by Greninja, but if they Cyrus Mimikyu out, they still have to break its shield. So that's another plus side to this. I just really like this deck. The next one I fell in love with, and I think it's just for the speed and consistency of it, is a new Donphan variant. So Donphan, you run it alongside Lucario. They're both stage 1 lines, and that's just why this is so consistent now, because we received a new supporter, Sightseer, which allows you to look at the top 4 cards of your deck and put all stage 1s you find there into your hand. So that means you're going to find Donphan, attack for 1 energy as quick as possible, and also get Lucario's fighting coach ability, which boosts all your fighting attacks by +20. It's just absolutely awesome to be able to do what you're doing 70 damage for 1 energy with Donphan. Super fast, and it's super consistent with all stage 1s and Sightseer. Plus we now have training area, so I guess technically you could do 80 damage for 1 energy. Absolutely amazing. You know what, now that I'm going back and looking at this, instead of Pokemon Center Lady, which is nice, I kind of want to run the most broken card in the game now, which is Ice Pop. So I'm gonna throw it in Ice Pop right there. I know it's such a toxic card, but I've been having good luck with it recently. So I'm literally, sorry, I'm editing this deck mid video. You could run Pokemon Center Lady too if you wanted to, if you're having trouble with poisoning, like poison barbs everywhere right now. But yeah, the reason I think you can easily hit Master Ball with this is because it's very consistent and very fast too. Third deck I have here, I actually covered a couple days ago. It's featuring Mega Steelix and Perserker. So the reason I think this is going to be good is because, like I mentioned at the start of the video, the top 3 decks are going to be Hydreigon, Altaria, and Suicune. Steelix is really good against Suicune, and I think you dominate Altaria too, because Altaria is also weak to Steel. So Steelix is just going to do a ton of damage and probably 2-shot it. And you're able to survive 2 Altaria attacks now pretty easily, because we have the new Tool Metal Core Barrier, which means you take -50 damage, and then, you know, combine that with Steelix -20, so it's -70 damage a turn. And then you can recycle your tool with the Dig Up ability. Whenever you evolve into Perserker, you can grab 2 tools from your discard pile. So Steelix is just not going to take any damage. Plus we have Ice Pop now too. I'm really glad we have room for it in here, because Ice Pop is absolutely broken. You can easily heal 60 HP. So yeah, Altaria is not going to be able to deal with Steelix, and Suicune won't be able to either, because you're not playing many Pokemon on your bench. The only problem might be Hydreigon, but I think it's very possible to beat that too. And that's why I think this deck is going to be good for a Master Ball run. I might try to, you know, run a version with Pichu, maybe remove Copycat, honestly. But when I tested this was the variant that I like the most. You could try it a bunch of different ways. I saw people playing Indeedee with this too, but I don't like the Indeedee variant because I don't want to have an EX that can be sniped from my bench, because if you put 2 Indeedees on your bench and you're going against a Suicune Greninja, they can kind of just ignore Steelix, ping your bench, and then drag Indeedee out, kill it, and then drag what your other Indeedee out too. So I don't know. maybe I could try that variant in the future, but this one worked really well for me. The next deck I have in here, I went on a kind of nutty win streak with, and it's an Ogerpon Leafeon deck. Sounds a bit odd, right? When I initially saw this deck, I didn't think it would be as strong as it actually turned out to be. So we have Pheromosa in here, which is able to hit their bench at the start of the game. You can hit their bench, and that's really important for manipulating the pace of the game and just getting weak targets. We also have Leafeon, which is going to generate energy really quick. This deck is also super consistent because we're only running basics and stage 1s. We have an easy Oricorio out with this basic Leafeon and Ogerpon. I wasn't sold on it because, you know, it says you need 5 energy in total between you and your opponent's active, but that happens most of the time pretty easily, especially with Leafeon generating 1 energy with its ability per turn. And one other thing that really surprised me with this deck was how much sustain it has, because you have 2 Ericas, so you can heal pretty easily, and the Leaf Capes get all of your Pokemon to about 160 to 170 HP, which is really nice. So they're not really going to get one-shotted by anything either. The deck is just really fast, really fun, pretty easy to play too. So you're probably noticing a theme by now. Master Ball decks, they need to be consistent and fast. So I think that's this deck checks all those boxes. I would try it out for yourself. And Hydreigon Absol is weak to grass, and I think that is going to be everywhere. So this is probably going to be a good pickup for that matchup if you're struggling against it. Last but not least, this is some spice here. I might be just selling you a dream. I'm going to try to take this deck to Master Ball if I can. That's going to be my goal. I'm going to tell you this is probably the worst out of all the decks that I've covered so far, but I won a lot with it in casual matches. I don't know how that's going to translate to ranked, but this is just the spice that I'm throwing in today's video, I guess. It is a Gengar EX basic Gengar Melota deck. I think I had a lot of luck with this because it actually has a draw engine now. Everyone always says Gengar is just copium, but it's nice to be able to search for a psychic once per turn at the start of the turn and be able to retreat in and out for no cost. That's really good for, you know, immediately going into this Gengar right away, using Bother and stopping your opponent from using supporter cards. And there's so many good supporters in the game now, like Copycat, Sabrina, Cyrus, just I could go on, but and Professor, of course. Disabling supporters early in the game, just being able to swap for no retreat cost and going to Gengar is actually huge. It's so important. I think people underrate that a lot. I also have 1 Gengar EX because that's going to be your late game follow-up. You still want to control the game, but you also want to be able to do a little bit of damage. So that's why I'm going with Gengar EX. 100 damage. It has 170 HP, which is not that bad either. 3 for 100. You might think that's a high cost, but you can actually get into that because you're gonna draw so quick. This Gengar actually is 130 HP, and you're going to get it right into the game, and you're going to slow them down too, shutting down their supporter cards. I actually had a lot of luck with this. Again, this might be the worst deck I've showed you so far, but it's spicy. I believe I can hit Master Ball with it. That's going to be my goal. But yeah, those are the top 5 decks that I've created this update that I really had a lot of fun with and think you can hit Master Ball with. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next time.